I had this.
Really?
Sorry.
This chapter is all about the two of them bumping heads, each other's and those of Walker's. It's a classic bottle episode, focusing on the two of them talking things out. This, historically, can make for the best of episodes, but also the worst. So, which way will this one go? Hi there, it's Micha. If you'd like to get my take on it, then join me for this review video. After Rick, in his own way, tried to protect Michonne by pushing her away, she countered by pushing back, meaning pushing both of them out of the helicopter. Making their way to the nearest building, they find an apartment that is long abandoned, but still in nearly pristine condition, due to a still busy Roomba. As Michonne doesn't understand Rick's hesitancy to return home, they finally discuss things in depth, and all sort of topics are raised. Rick finally learns about RJ, Rick Jr., his son, but doesn't even ask anything about the kid, which totally pisses Michonne off.
You need to give me the PRB.
What? I just told you you have a son!
Rick seems only interested in getting back to the CRM, with the call button to alarm them being an option. Discussing his reasons, he at long last reveals that Jadis has them in a chokehold.
She's threatened by us because together, you and me, she thinks we could do anything.
We can.
Planning to kill their whole community if they both run off.
We can stop her.
You saw what happened to your friends. It will happen to everyone we know. To our children.
And that she has a backup plan in play in case the two of them kill her.
Should have done that in the beginning.
She left it all behind. Who we are, where we're from. So people will find us if we did that.
They then notice that the chopper they jumped from crashed, meaning Michonne actually saved their lives. And that they now have an out, as the CRM then returns and destroys the wreckage to eliminate all traces of their existence. So officially, both of them are now considered dead.
No,
What did you say?
I'm not going home.
However, Rick still insists on going back, as the CRM poses a danger and he believes to be the only one left able to change the system from within, which he sees as the only chance to keep everyone safe and allow for a better future. But Michonne calls bullshit on that.
I don't want to do this. I have to.
That's not it. You're lying.
After a lot of back and forth, including a scene of vulnerable intimacy between the two of them, Michonne calls Rick out, forcing a decision about their next steps.
We're not moving until we decide. It's not time to go. Not until we know where we're going.
While the building is crumbling around them due to the CRM's demolition of the neighboring high-rise. There he finally breaks, sharing that he couldn't remember Carl's face anymore, and then her face too. Therefore he had to learn how to keep living while being dead inside. And he did.
I know how to be dead and live now. You can't just come back here, make me come alive again. What if I lose you and I can't figure out how to die all over again?
He then explains why he wanted Hurd to get home, while he would stay with the CRM.
I won't survive that, Michelle. I just won't. At least if I think you will live on longer than me, without knowing if you do, I can just believe that it's true.
With that, Rick started to turn back into the man Michonne thought to be lost. And with a kind present, she reminded him of that.
If Carl were here right now, what would he want you to do with this new chance to be with those you love?
This way, pushing him back into his old self.
We go home, Rick. And we figure out how to protect it together. That's how we make it all make sense.
And with that, they make their way home. Totally in sync again, like we knew them from before. And that is where the episode ends. As I mentioned in the intro, this was a bottle episode. An episode concentrating on mainly one location and dialogue, with the main purpose of them resolving their issues. And while those episodes can be great, they can also totally miss their mark. They only work if you are familiar with the characters, love them, and then have a great script. So let me start by saying, this one was a bullseye. I think I can keep this review part rather short, because you have to see it for yourself to get all the nuances. Danai Gurira, who is also an accomplished playwright, wrote the screenplay for this one and did a bang-up job with it, giving us plausible dialogue and creating a real tearjerker of an episode. This chapter addressed many of my concerns I had with the last episode head on. Mainly Rick acting out of character by thinking Michonne would leave without him, among many other things. She calls him out on that and holds a mirror to him, showcasing that he has changed, that he is not the man she remembers.
I don't like who you are with them. What they make you. It isn't you.
Captivity broke him, and some kind of Stockholm syndrome also came into play. In a nutshell, being a prisoner for so long, losing all hope to see his loved ones again, and losing his memory of their faces had a debilitating effect on him. But she helps him have a breakthrough, and I dare you to make it through those scenes without crying like a baby. By the way, Danai calls the building some kind of a cocoon for the two of them, which she describes truly beautifully.
This cocoon was created for these two to figure themselves out. And it was a question, are they going to come out of there butterflies or moths? And it completed its purpose and fell to dust.
So with the cocoon collapsing, Rick as we know him is now back. And it will be thrilling to see where this show will lead us, because Jadis will likely still be suspecting foul play. So Alexandria and their whole home is in acute danger. Will the next 2 episodes wrap up the CRM topic? I don't think so. For once, the crew from World Beyond is still out there fighting the CRM, and I assume a payoff for that show at some point. While I expect Rick and Michonne to get home at the end, being reunited with their family and friends, I think this show will be ending with a preparation for a possible CRM attack. And maybe we will even see Morgan there. In any way, I also expect this series to set up the next big franchise chapter. This may be a movie, another series, or just the next season of this show. But I expect some crossovers and special events in the future. Daryl is still in France, where he might find a cure. The rest of the Fear the Walking Dead cast is also out there, including Althea, who settled down with her girlfriend who worked for the CRM. So maybe they are still looking for her too, bringing them into play? All those other shows are happening in the same timeline now, so anything is possible. Maybe all of those characters will be brought together for a final confrontation. Well, except for Maggie and Negan, as their show takes place in the near future. Anyway, it was a fantastic episode and I'm thrilled to see what happens next. And with that being said, let's get to the rating. Like I said, this episode tackled some of the issues I had with the previous chapter, retroactively raising my opinion of it. It didn't address all of them, but maybe this will happen in the final 2 entries. Looking back, I would likely raise my rating for part 3 from 6.5 to 7.5, but well, you can only use what you know up to that point to rate an episode. This one felt authentic, and there was even some solid action in there too, but of course the dialogue and the emotions in there were what made this chapter the standout so far. Kudos to both of them for their fine acting, showing us so much vulnerability. For me, this one was the best entry of the show so far, and I'm rating it with 9 out of 10 points. With only some minor plot points that felt unnecessary, slightly detracting from a perfect score. Next, let's just bring the 2 of them home safe and sound. Well, as safe and sound as possible. What about you? Do you also think this was the strongest episode so far? Did you make it through without shedding a tear, or do you also turn on your waterworks? What are your theories for the rest of the show? Whatever you like to share, let me know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, feel free to like, share or subscribe. So much for now, see you next time and thanks for watching. As Michonne doesn't understand Rick's hesitancy, including a scene of vulnerable. Rick seems only interested in getting back to the CRM. CRM.